Hello everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. A couple of quick notes before I start the presentation. This slideshow is being recorded and will be available on the LKCS YouTube channel later on. Just so you know, everyone else besides me will be muted, so I will not be able to hear you if you talk on your end. We'll be taking questions throughout the webinar. If you want to send them through the chat, feel free to type those in and send them as we go. We'll address any of the bigger questions that we think might apply to everyone at the end of the webinar. My name is Tom Quessy, and I'm the head of digital sales here at LKCS. Today, I'm going to be talking about marketing automation and some of the tools we offer to reach your goals. So before we jump into it, for anyone who may not be familiar with us, I would like to take a second to go over who we are here at LKCS. LKCS was founded on the core values of providing the best service, high quality, fast turnaround, and fair pricing. We continue to stand by these values today as we evolve our marketing, digital, print, mail, and statement services to fit the needs of our customers. We're a full service marketing company, and we've been in business since 1961. We've worked predominantly with financial institutions that entire time, and we provide a full range of products and services. But today, we're going to be focusing on digital marketing and automation. However, if there's anything else you're wanting to learn more about, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. In this webinar, I'll be breaking down marketing automation and the ways that it can improve your team's effectiveness when it comes to the consistency of your campaigns, the accuracy of your targeting, and meeting your marketing goals. When used correctly, it can make the day-to-day tasks easier and free up time to focus on the overall direction of your marketing. With time and care, you can refine your tactics and base your decisions on more data-driven results. We'll start by going over the basics of what automation is and giving an example in ActiveCampaign, an email marketing automation platform. Then I'll expand a bit on the best ways to get started with automation and what to prepare for when taking your first steps. Next, I'll discuss what you'll be doing as the automations are running and taking advantage of the data and tracking that will be in place. And lastly, I'll be breaking down some of the other tools that we offer that are great for supporting your digital marketing efforts or have their own forms of automation. I'll be briefly talking about Sitefinity, the LKCS tool suite, and our social media management tool, and some of the chat systems we have too. So let's start by breaking down what automation is. Automation is the use of software technology to automate repetitive or manual marketing activities. The common ones being avenues like email, text messaging, lead and conversion tracking, systematic follow-up, and more. Automation is a great tactic for keeping a consistent presence with leads that you currently have and hitting the benchmarks needed to close. It can help you grow your audience, strengthen relationships, and encourage your audience to take that next step. So why do we want to use this? Well, firstly, because it saves a lot of time. It also improves the quality of our engagement with our audience, and it can increase our leads and conversions over time. As that second bullet hints at, most automation is based on data that you've been actively collecting. Your marketing will be automatically reacting to actions that your users are taking either across your site or within some of these avenues that you're reaching out to them. So along the way, you'll kind of be looking at different questions like, did this person open or click a link within a specific email? Did they forward that email on? Did they visit a page on your website? Did they submit a form or use a calculator on your site? Did they view a video, download a PDF? share something of yours on social media, initiate a conversation within a chat system if you're using that on your site. These are all examples of actions that could be tracked and then acted upon with different systems or tools in place. So let's put this in context. Here's an example of a very simple automation track within ActiveCampaign. This is an email marketing automation system. In this example, it's using an update to a field to enact a series of emails. And in this case, once the system detects that the field we're using is the contact's number of dependents, once it detects that's changed, it will then send them down this automated track, sending out several emails over the course of a couple weeks. One of the reasons I introduced this as simple is because it is starting the automation with that change to a contact's information, then sending an email, waiting for some time to pass, and then sending the next email in that sequence. And we can see it does this kind of in a straight line down. This might be all you need, but with software like ActiveCampaign, you could start breaking this track out and reacting to how receptive your user is to the specific emails throughout it. For instance, we can see at the very bottom of this track where the tree forks. It asks the question, has this contact scheduled a meeting with us by this point? If yes, we go down this left path where the automation kind of comes to an end, because having that meeting was our goal for this automation. If the answer is no, maybe we move on to another tactic. That could mean more emails, or maybe it could mean we trigger an email notification to someone on our team. Or maybe this is what would be a good time to reach out with a more personal touch. We can also set these branching moments throughout the whole automation. So where we can gauge interest sooner by asking questions like, did they open that previous email? Or did they click a link within that last email? Depending on that, we could tailor the following email's content to that specific contact's interests. This is what I meant in the last slide where I mentioned improving the actual quality of our engagement with our users. Most of the tools that facilitate automation, like ActiveCampaign, will also have ways to track where your leads currently are in the process. This kind of thing can help give a top-down view of how effective these automations are and how many users are passing through them at any given time. So just for example, the way that this is sorting it here is we can see that we're sorting contacts by if they're interested in this product, maybe they're actively researching, ready to close, they already have closed, or maybe there's some people on this list that aren't responsive. So if needed, this is a good way for your team to take a more manual approach to certain subsections of your contacts. For instance, anyone getting sorted as not responsive might be contacts we might want to try a different approach with, or even remove them from certain automations. We can segment these groups into smaller sections where it makes sense to. And being able to gauge interests like this through the tracking allows us to take further actions, whether that's setting up new campaigns to target these specific segments we've created, or to add scores to these contacts and sort them in different ways that we can act on in the future. Scoring and segmenting are powerful tools when it comes to email marketing, but honestly, in this whole scope of automation in general. And it's all about figuring out how to target that audience correctly. Within ActiveCampaign, we can also create goals with unique parameters to keep tabs on the success rate of these automations. But let's not get too far ahead of ourselves. That was a brief look at an example of email marketing automation, but these kind of systems can feel daunting to set up when you're just getting started. So let's go into our recommendations of what to start thinking about if automation really interests you. Automation saves us from a lot of future busy work, but the trade-off is that it takes a bulk of planning up front. We want to lay a solid foundation so that it's easy to keep building as we go. It's good to get a baseline of our main goals before starting with any automation. Ask yourself questions like, what should increase, or what are we measuring? Start looking at where you're at with marketing right now and what you're currently offering. Then start digging into what you're wanting to do with automation. What are we trying to increase, and what are our benchmarks that we'll be trying to hit? Will that be something like how many loans actually get closed, or how many people apply? Are the goals currently even being measured? Do we know that already? Only once we have a clear idea of what should be accomplished can we actually get started with this. A common mistake we see with automation is jumping straight in without any clear goal or plan of what you'll be doing or what you want out of it. So when somebody gets started with it, they're a bit unsure of what results they'll need to be keeping an eye on to confirm that these systems are working for them. You need to be able to watch for what's increasing or decreasing to know what to tweak in an automation or how to tweak pieces of that to improve the process as you go. It's also important to think creatively. There's no limit to how marketing automation can be used, especially if you have data that you can leverage throughout these campaigns. This can often be one of the biggest challenges, connecting the right user to their data. But these sorts of data challenges can be overcome. There isn't necessarily a one-size-fits-all solution to data management, so I won't be diving too deep into that here. But if you're interested in using something like ActiveCampaign, we can always set up a meeting with our team to review your personal situation and give advice on how we think you could best get things set up. We know it can sometimes be difficult to explain the need for automation, but we're more than happy to dive deeper into the benefits with a demo, and this may help you get more interest at the top and explain why it's worth budgeting for, and just how endless the marketing possibilities can be when it's used correctly. Once you have your main goals and vision laid out, it's time to get into the meat of the project. This starts by creating maps of how users will interact and travel through your automation tracks. This process will help you visualize the journey before you begin using the software. Using free tools online, a whiteboard, post-it notes, writing in a notebook, whatever works for you, can help just get started and brainstorm and discover any issues with the process and let you walk through in detail how that user will consume that content. Mapping things physically can also lead to discoveries or paths that you hadn't yet considered when just thinking about the broader goals. What does the lead up to filling out an application look like? What actions are your users likely to take before getting there that signals that they're interested? There are moments where these are the moments where automation can really help you strike when the iron's hot. Once you have your data in place and journeys mapped, that's where the fun starts. We always recommend beginning with smaller ideas that don't involve a lot of the different aspects of automation right from the start. So beginning with the basics and keep building on that success. The first automation you build doesn't have to be the most ambitious thing that you've brainstormed so far. Start with something that you know. It's smart to walk before you run in systems like this. Beginning with something simple can get you and other employees that will need to be part of the process some time and experience with the system. Having a simple automation running for a bit can help you to see exactly where it can feed into your team's workflow and the best way to benefit your organization. This is where you might find some best practices that are really specific to you and will help you not run into them when creating some of your larger scale automations, which will often be harder to go back and correct or revise. So it's good to kind of get used to the system and then build those really complex tracks when you feel confident with it. Like I mentioned before, automation takes some upfront work to get started. Once you have the general paths planned out for one of your tracks, you'll need to create content for each touch point throughout that journey. To be successful, marketing automation takes a significant amount of engaging content. We're not going to lie, this is the area of automation that can take the most time, but will be very rewarding in the end. Asking subject matter experts at your bank or credit union to provide detail about their specific departments can be really beneficial here. Ask them things like, what are some different approaches that you can take throughout the journey that might catch someone's interest? Your content should really try to utilize different tactics. You don't just want to be spamming your audience with generally the same email over and over again. This should be a process that allows you to engage them in a variety of different ways and hopefully land on one that spikes their interest. Next, we'll talk a little bit about acting on data that you collect during this. So once you have those automations running in the background and some time passes, you'll be able to start refining these customer journeys a little bit more. It's time to take kind of what we've learned from our automations and test out some tweaks. Start by asking some questions. First off, any data that stands out is usually a useful metric to key in on. So are there some specific emails or moments that are performing better than anything else in the track? For example, maybe an email that has a subject line that's, for example, maybe using an emoji or something out of the ordinary is causing many more people to open it. And this would be something that might be worth trying to recreate throughout the rest of our track if it works with your audience. Ask yourself, do we have a section of the automation where our users stop interacting with it? This could mean the automation is too long, or maybe we're sending with too much frequency. You could always up the interval between sendings to help alleviate something like that. And could the automation benefit from changes in our overall strategy? These are the kind of questions to ask yourself as you review the results of this marketing. All the footwork of creating these emails is complete, but this is the kind of tweaking you can do with automation to start maximizing your benefits. How can we get this running like a well-oiled machine? And once you feel like that's working, you have to kind of look beyond the automation as well. Whether you like it or not, even the best automations need to be supported by other elements of your digital presence. So if the end goal of an automation is to get the user to apply for something, but your application itself is poorly built, then that's going to be a big problem. So we should consider what other digital tools we're using or pointing our customers towards on that journey. While these automations are running, we can get more insight on what actions users are taking along the way. We can ask if any of these actions correlate directly to conversions. So sometimes you might discover that a particular part of your process leads to more users hitting your end goal. For instance, if you're able to track who's visited the rates page on your website, and that's what starts off an automation, you may find that users who do view your rates are extremely likely to apply for the product. This sort of discovery might lead you to advertise your rates in many more prominent ways across your website or in other digital tools like ads or however you want to get those out there. You can also see if other marketing avenues can connect to the automation in meaningful ways to give it a boost. Social media, digital ads, and other sources could lead to landing pages that feed directly into these automations. And like I mentioned at the beginning, it's also important to just keep an eye on those digital services you're providing that might be an issue. If the automations are directing users to a website or an application that's messy or hard to use, then that really needs to be addressed. So this leads us to other tools that we can offer that can be a gigantic help to your marketing team. I'll be talking about standout features of some of our most prominent digital marketing tools. Like automation, these are all tools that can streamline your marketing work. Let's start with Sitefinity. Your website is the most important marketing tool you have. You should have a content management system that lets you easily make updates and edits to your site, and we recommend Sitefinity for this. With Sitefinity, you can easily change headers and body text, rearrange your navigation structure, add, replace images across the site, add and remove pages across the site, adjust your layouts, and utilize video, images, PDFs, whatever you're embedding onto the site. Let's walk through some of the features that are invaluable when combined with automation. Here we are in Sitefinity viewing the pages for this particular website. From here, we can click on any of these and get in and edit content on our pages. These are things that you're going to be directing people to. So we can see what pages are currently published and live on the site, and we can easily reorder these in any way we like, which can then be immediately saved and published to change the navigation of our live site. This is as simple as drag and dropping pages into new positions or into these groups if we wish them to be kind of nested beneath another page. And we're also able to create new pages from here and drop them in our nav. Being able to easily manage your nav and then create new promotional pages is very valuable when we pair that with any tracking we might be using for automation. On the screen now is an example of what you see in Sitefinity when you're making edits to a page. In this editor, you'll notice that elements on the page get separated out into different widgets. These widgets are boxes that can be dragged onto the page and edited independently. After dropping these widgets on, we can easily add elements like call to action buttons, images, specially styled sections, or text blocks. Sitefinity also has higher tiers of licensing available, where we can take advantage of advanced features like personalization and A/B testing. Personalization especially is one that I want to take a moment to talk about because it leverages data just like the automations we've been talking about. Personalization would allow us to show content that is tailored to a specific user or group of users that we can commonly refer to as personas. For example, if our data was able to identify that the current user that was browsing this page was someone that we flagged as being interested in a mortgage, we could have that ad default to something we've created advertising our mortgages. So that ad on the right-hand side would change to reflect that person's interest. If this was set up in conjunction with ActiveCampaign, clicking on that advertisement could even start that user down one of our email marketing automation tracks. This, of course, would require us to identify the user somewhere along the way, but that is possible. When combining tools like this, we can create meaningful marketing moments that set a domino effect in motion. Just by putting the right content in front of the right person and then having them click on one link. After you complete any edits to pages in Sitefinity, you'll have all of your publishing options located at the top here. You'll be able to make the decision of how you want to move forward with the page. If everything is ready to go, you can hit publish to immediately push the page live, or save pages as drafts to continue your work later. You also have the ability to schedule this page to publish on future date. Just like our automations, this is a great way to plan ahead and make your life easier. For instance, if you're looking to have something go live at a very specific time, with this CMS you can schedule it down to the minute of when you would like it to publish to the website. We often see this get used for the kind of promotional pages that I was talking about, where you might want to set up a landing page for a specific offer, and this way you can set everything up ahead of time for this page to go live right when it starts, and then come down when the promotion's finished. So next we'll be talking about some of the tools within the LKCS tool suite. This is a subscription service that we offer that is constantly being maintained and upgraded as time goes on. It's a suite of digital tools that integrate with our websites to make your life easier. We built these tools with financial institutions in mind. The tool suite includes many options that would fit in with the theme of assisting your marketing team and making life easier, but for today, I'll just focus on a handful. We'll touch on the Rates Manager, a tool for making announcements on your homepage, and our banner and ads managers. So we'll talk about the Rates Manager first. Our Rates Manager is an easy way to manage all of the rates across your website. It helps simplify showing rates tables across many pages, but still only having to manage them all in one place. So even if the rate is presented in different formats across like 20 or 30 pages or more, you still only have to make the change once in this tool, and it'll be reflected everywhere that it's present on the website. So here is a screenshot of what this tool looks like on the back end. I'm showing one table here, but you could have as many as you want within the system. And to make changes, all I need to do is simply click into a cell and type in that new information. With this tool, it's incredibly easy to remove or move columns, rows, or any entries within this table. And I know that's something that people usually really enjoy because even within most CMSs, making edits to tables can still be a pain. This streamlines that whole process. And when making changes, just like in the CMS that I was showing earlier, you're able to save drafts in here or even schedule rates changes to go live on certain dates. We also have access to a revision history of all the changes that have been made in the Rates Manager over time, which is great for compliance, as you'll be able to review rates history anytime you should need to. Lastly, I'll show the homepage announcement tool here. This announcement manager tool lets us easily get urgent updates out to our users. If you have a branch that has to close down suddenly due to bad weather, or you want to warn people browsing your site of an upcoming holiday that's going to force a change in hours, our announcement tool is a useful way to send out fast updates to anyone browsing the homepage. This can be amazing for getting out timely messages and can really help cut down on calls asking about these sorts of events. Here's a screenshot of what that tool looks like on the back end. Messages are created using this friendly text editor, and these messages will slide down from the top of your homepage when somebody lands on it. So here's what that announcement looks like when it's live at the top of a homepage. Depending on how important the message is, I may even want to darken that color or make it kind of clash with the site's main brand colors. And this will help it stand out and ensure it's immediately seen. The tool suite also has ways to manage your banners and ads. So we want that to be an easy thing to do, whether it's managing those main banners on the homepage or smaller advertisements that are placed throughout your site. Depending on your site's design, we can create simple ways for you to update those images, call to actions, and more on these featured areas of your homepage. Here, we can see an example of this manager. This shows us what banners are currently live, and they can disable or enable more banners from their library. On each of the banners, they can get information about how many unique clicks it's gotten so far, upload several versions of the images to fit better across different screen sizes, edit the alternative text to meet any accessibility requirements, and easily schedule the banners to go live or take themselves down at specific times, just like all the other tools that I've been showing here. And these three tools that I've shown are just a handful of tools available in the tool suite. We also have tools for managing things like third-party pop-ups, event calendars, career listings, managing the sale of repossessions, running polls on your site, and more. Please reach out if you're interested in seeing any more of that in action. When it comes to making the management of your website easier and more consistent, the tool suite is a very powerful marketing service. Next, let's take a look at LKCS Social Media Management Tool. With our platform, you can easily create, schedule, and analyze the content you post on social media. We offer seamless integration with multiple social media platforms, so you can connect to your business pages on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, X as it's now called, LinkedIn, Google Business Profile, and YouTube to our platform and manage them all from one panel. Here we can see a snapshot of what the main management section looks like within the platform. And this truly makes scheduling and managing your posts a breeze. One of the key features of our tool is the ability to monitor brand recognition. You can respond to social media mentions, posts, and comments directly in the tool, keeping a close eye on what people are saying about your brand. Additionally, you can also monitor employees, product names, and even competitors' social media activity and mentions all from one place. You and your team can stay on top of every post on your social media sites with our inbox and email notifications. You can also automate responses to certain activities, saving you time and effort. This also includes a handy keyword monitoring feature. So set up any terms to be monitored over social media platforms and stay informed about trends and sentiments around those keywords. And you can also get customized reports from this of your social media posts, mentions, and monitoring on a daily, weekly, or monthly basis. If you need to delve deeper into the data, you can easily download all posts, profiles, and user data for further analysis and archiving. So by taking a strategic approach to social media and utilizing our tool's features to control, systemize, and automate your activities, you'll not only mitigate potential risks, but also increase the efficiency of your team. Plus, our tool makes it easier than ever to harness the power of social media for your business. Lastly, I think it's important to talk a little bit about taking advantage of a chat system on your website. And because we're focusing in on automation today, we'll focus a little bit more on the chatbot portion of this. So just in general, chat services can improve the communication on your site and instantly help field some of the more common questions. This can be a big improvement to your customer service by giving the user a lifeline if they ever feel like they've hit a dead end while browsing your site or are looking for details on a certain topic. As I'll show in a moment here, with Chatbot, you can also become a 24/7 digital service branch and field more complex questions even without someone manually monitoring. This will give your users a support system that we've all come to expect while navigating a modern website. So in particular, Chatbot feeds directly into kind of what we've been discussing with automation. On the screen, you'll see a track that probably looks very familiar to the ActiveCampaign automation that we looked at earlier on in the presentation. Chatbot uses similar methods that you set up ahead of time to accurately field common questions. A lot of this is done by identifying keywords that users mention to lead them down correct paths. So if the user mentions mortgages or another specific word when asking their questions, the bot can take them into that path that you've set up for the topic. We can also set up these kind of quick buttons to prompt the user with certain subjects to streamline that process. One that you can see there towards the bottom is the ability to quickly talk to an agent. So if an agent is available, they can immediately request to speak to them. And if not, and the tracks fail to lead them to the answer they were looking for, then the bot can always fall back to your contact form, which will get that question into your team's hands during business hours. Missed questions like that are also tracked and noted. That way, when you're reviewing these tracks that you've created, you may see an opportunity to create a new one for that line of questioning. So tools like this can be both great for your site's user experience, but also for cutting down on the amount of phone calls that your employees get when asking them to field common or simple questions. That covers everything I wanted to discuss for our marketing teams out there that are looking to automate more of their busy work, streamline those customer journeys, make more data-driven decisions, and get better end results. So I hope if you were interested in finding out more about the tools we recommend when heading this direction, that you've gotten that from the webinar today. I know all of these tools have a lot of moving parts, which can be hard to demonstrate all within one webinar. But if you found yourself interested in anything I presented, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're constantly doing demos for all of these tools, and we would love to set up a meeting and dive deeper into how you want to use them. That way, you can get some one-on-one time with us to slow us down a bit and ask questions about the specifics of the tool that you are interested in. As always, we here at LKCS are ready to help you with any new projects you have in mind. So please get in contact with me or any of our sales reps to get started. Thanks so much for attending the webinar. Again, my name is Tom Quessy, and I'm the head of digital sales here at LKCS. If anyone has any questions, I'm going to stay on the line for the next few minutes to answer anything that comes through the chat. So thanks again for attending, and we hope to see you at our next webinar.